sexes at birth, and now in Texas has gone crazy. They're actually being threatened with being arrested for gender identity fraud, potentially leading to jail time. Think about that for a minute. So imagine a transgender woman who is completely, fully transgender. She has breasts, beautiful hair, softened features, and completely presents as female. But now her documents say she's male. So how is that going to work? Are they going to arrest her now after she's fully transitioned? Again, the excess of misinformation, the outright lies that Trump and his administration are spreading are hurting people, they're hurting families and children. I will never, till the day I die, understand how so many people can believe him so easily without actually checking into things for themselves and doing their own fact checking.
Right.
Yeah.
No, schools are not socially transitioning children without the knowledge of their parents. That is 100% false. So no, little Johnny doesn't go to school one day and comes home transitioned by the school without their parents' knowledge. That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard he said. They clearly have no idea what is actually involved. Or they do, and their goal is to lie about it to get their base in an uproar, which they did.
That's right.
And by the way, January Little John, who Trump mentioned and featured during his speech, was completely aware of her child's non-binary feelings, and she absolutely was working with the school to help support their child. There are emails to prove that, and she should be ashamed for using her child's journey as political fuel to support this narrative.
Shame, 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 shame.
And no, there are no child mutilations going on. Gender transitioning actually takes quite a bit of time. Our journey for my son, he began identifying as non-binary around 12 or 13 years old. He shared with us he never really felt normal, and he didn't relate to other girls in his class. And as a parent, when you hear your child say, "I never felt normal, and I thought something was wrong with me," it's just heartbreaking. Sorry. And then one day he heard the term gender identity disorder. And although he fully didn't understand it, he could really relate to what they were describing. And he's like, "That sounds like me." Finally, he felt some validation. This was my 13-year-old child. And as parents, we had no idea what it was either, but we sure as hell were gonna find out. So I dove in 1,000%. I read books, I watched documentaries, we went to conferences, and we learned about the science of it. Yes, science. Which fully supports, or it is supported by the medical community. Who are Trump and his supporters to actually question medical and scientific communities?
They're idiots.
So we reached out to our healthcare team. We made a plan to start his transition, and my son began counseling, which he had to do for a year before he could start on hormone therapy. He had already been through puberty, so puberty blockers were not an option for him, which, by the way, are completely reversible, and if stopped, the child just resumes puberty as if they were never on blockers. And again, scientific studies and research shows this. They are a safe and effective way to give the child and the family time to ensure that this is the road they need to take. So then my son was on hormone therapy, again, for a full year before we could even consider anything about surgeries. So no, this is not a quick process. It doesn't happen in school in one day. And parents are involved the whole way along with their children. My son was lucky enough to have teachers who were supportive and helped him socially transition in school.
Thank you, teachers.
One teacher emailed me to say he had heard some kids calling my son by a different name. And did we think that all the other teachers in administration would like to know so they could address him by that name? Then my teacher also mentioned that my son was getting an award at the end of the year. And did we think he would like his name to be on the award? So that's how he came out to school. The teacher announced the award in his preferred name, and he walked across the stage in the school to the entire school. And guess what? Kids couldn't have cared less. They didn't care. They supported him, and many rallied behind him, as well as many of our friends. Kristen, are you here? Did you make it, Kristen? But now teachers are afraid to help and reach out to families, and they're prevented from supporting their students in the classrooms that are transitioning. And without access to the health care that we had, and to the providers who didn't have to fear legal charges being brought against them for providing gender-affirming care, he would not have been able to become the man that we all knew he was and is.